begin with the words in our insert, and then on page 10 of our prayer book. Ki beiti beit tefila yikarei lechol ha'amim. 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 Yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Ki beiti beit tefila yikarei lechol ha'amim. 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 Yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai. Page 10. Yedid nefesh af harachaman, yedid nefesh af harachaman, mishoch avdecha el retzonecha, mishoch avdecha, ya la 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 la, el retzonecha. Yaharutz avdecha kemo ayal, ishtahave yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, el mul hadarecha. Yaharutz avdecha kemo ayal, ishtahave yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, el mul hadarecha. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Welcome. We're so glad that you are with us here tonight as we welcome Shabbat together as one community. My name is Cantor Vladimir Lapin. I'm happy to be sharing in services tonight with our Rabbi Rob. I'm sorry.
I'll take it.
Rabbi
I like
Josh
him.
Caruso.
He's worthy rabbi. We could just switch it up tonight.
Judah, my son, calls you sometimes Rabbi Rob.
So.
Yeah. I usually, I said I've been called worse. That's a joke. When somebody says Rabbi or Cantor, it's
all good.
Also, thank you to our music director, Alexander Marr, who's here with us. Thank you to all of you who are here in person with us, and also to all of those who are watching us via live stream. If you are watching via one of our live stream channels, please send a chat in the chat box to let us know that you're here tonight. I invite us all to take a deep breath for Shabbat. And I want us to take this moment to greet one another, to wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. Let's take this moment now to do that. Let's take another deep breath for Shabbat.
All right.
As I was preparing for tonight's services earlier today, I stumbled upon a teaching from our colleague, Rabbi Jill Zimmerman, who writes that Shabbat is the day we let go of the illusion that we are in control. We accept the world as it is given rather than trying to mold it into our wishes. We are free to impose our will by doing 6 days of the week. On the seventh day, on Shabbat, we are supposed to take a breath, I love this breath, and just be. Just to be, that is difficult. At least for me, that's difficult. Rabbi Zimmerman continues by focusing on this Shabbat breath, the idea of this Shabbat breath. She writes, the Hebrew for what God does on the Sabbath day when creating is over is Shavat Vayinafash. It's usually translated as, and God rested. However, and Rabbi Zimmerman teaches this, that Rabbi Alan Liu of blessed memory suggests that nafash also means breath, and so can be translated, and on Shabbat, God breathed. Shabbat is Judaism's greatest gift to the world, and at all times, at good and bad times, when we are thriving, at times when the world seems to be in full disorder, in times of earthquakes and eclipses, in times of celebrations and simchas, our souls still need to be renewed and refreshed. Shabbat gives us that opportunity. Let's take it. We offer thanks for this Shabbat which unites us in faith, hope, and friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Let us take another breath for Shabbat. We continue in our prayer books on page 2 with the lighting of our Shabbat candles. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
Letting Shabbat settle in after lighting those candles. Continue now with L'chu Neranena, one of the psalms that we sing and we chant and we share that lead up to the Baruch Hu. So we begin, I think, in our prayer books again, in our handouts again, with L'chu Neranena. It's on the inside cover there, and this is from Psalm 95.
L'chu neranena, yai lai 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 lai, l'Adonai, yai lai 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 lai, nariya, yai lai 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 lai, l'tzur yishenu, yai lai 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 lai. Let us sing out to God, the maker of all, sure and strong. Let all of creation from mountain to sea hear our song. L'chu neranena, yai lai 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 lai, l'Adonai, yai lai 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 lai, nariya, yai lai 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 lai, l'tzur for all of the wonder in all of God's light, we rejoice. So now let us listen with all of our hearts to hear God's voice. Lechu neranena, yai lai 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 la Adonai, yai lai 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 naharia, yai lai 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 letzur yisheinu, yai lai 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 lai.
We now turn to page 20 for Lecha Dodi as we welcome the Sabbath bride. We will be singing stanzas 1, 2, 5,
And 9.
and 9. And at 9, we will rise and welcome the Sabbath bride. I'll give you a little gesture.
Ay, 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 lecha dodi. Ay, 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 likrat kala. Ay, 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 penei Shabbat. Penei Shabbat nekabela. Ay, 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 lecha dodi. Ay, 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 likrat kala. Ay, 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 penei Shabbat. Penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad. Hishmiyanu el hamiyuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad. L'shem ultiferet ve'lithilah. Ay, 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 lecha dodi. Ay, 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 likrat kala. Ay, 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 penei Shabbat. Penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha. Ki hi mekor habracha. Merosh mikedem nesucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. Ay, 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 lecha dodi. Ay, 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 likrat kala. Ay, 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 penei Shabbat. Penei Shabbat neka, verse 5. Hitoreri, hitoreri. Kiva orech kumi ori. Uri, uri, shir daberi kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Ay, 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 lecha dodi. Ay, 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 likrat kala. Ay, 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 penei Shabbat. Penei Shabbat nekabela.
Face the entrance. We'll welcome the Sabbath bride.
Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha ובצהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה איי 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 לך דודי איי 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 לקראת כלה איי 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 פני שבת פני שבת נקבלה איי 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 לך דודי איי 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 לקראת כלה איי 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 פני שבת פני שבת נקבלה.
If you are able, we ask that you remain standing. We're going to turn to page 29. O God, you are as near as the very air we breathe, yet farther than the farthermost star. Together, we yearn to reach you. We seek the light and warmth of your presence. Though we say you are near, we are lonely and alone. Oh, let our desire be so strong that it will tear the veil that keeps you from our sight. Let your light release our darkness and reveal the glory and joy of your presence. We continue with Baruch Hu, page 28.
Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, ya la la. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la.
33. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me, did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 34, we continue with Shema Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated. We continue with Ve'ahavta, page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות להם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיהם
Adonai Elohechem
Emet.
39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. Together, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. that
there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together.
Continue with Mi Chamocha, page 40.
Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע הים לפני משה ומרים. זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
We now continue with Hashkivenu on page 42. I always think about it as like the sort of Jewish lullaby, a way to make our way to bed, to closing down the day, and to realizing that as we close our eyes and then we fall into that very that liminal space, and we're feeling a little awake and we're feeling like we're about to fall asleep, that there's a bit of vulnerability in that moment. And this prayer, Hashkivenu, really speaks to the vulnerability of the moment of being in that situation where we can't control it. We're going to just let go and let the evening happen and let sleep happen. And God willing, another day, another morning we wake up. And it's really a leap of faith to put our heads down in some ways and to let our tiredness take over. It gives us that opportunity to let go of control, as Ken Lappin was talking about with that reading earlier today. So we continue with Hashkivenu. It's not bedtime yet. Hopefully not, although it's getting hot in here.
I know.
So it's feeling. But hopefully it'll be a preview of what we're going to come to later tonight of resting and settling into the Sabbath. 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'ha'amidenu shomreinu lechayim Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu shomreinu lechayim.
47. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. We invite you once again, as you are able, to rise at your seats. Continue with the Amidah, our tefillah, beginning on 46 and moving through page 52.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fi yagi teilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Turn to page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh Shabbat. We can take our seats and pause for a few moments, quiet reflection, moments of silence, however you want to take this time for yourself.
Page 58. מודים אנחנו לך, מודים אנחנו לך, שאתה אדוני אלוהינו Shatau Elohei Avoteinu Leolam Vaed Modim Anachnu Lach Tzur Chayenu Magen Yishenu Tzur Chayenu Magen Yishenu Atah Atah Ledor Vador Atah Ledor Vador Modim Anachnu Lach Modim Anachnu Lach Shatau Adonai Eloheinu Shatau Elohei Imoteinu Leolam Vaed. Page 60. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimromav, 62. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Beautiful segue from that plaintive Modim Anachnu Lach to the joyful Oseh Shalom. But I think that might be the first time I've heard the Modim. Really beautiful. Yeah. We are going to continue now with Tfilat Mishaberach, our prayer for healing. If you turn to page 253, we can just prepare for the moment when we are going to sing that together. But at this time, I want to raise up the names of those in our community who were praying for their healing. Sasha Aber, Elaine Abramson, Ro Allen, Eliana Amram, Kristen Barnes, Lauren Berg, Ruth Berger, Leonard Bernstein, Joshua Brookstein, Bennett Cohen, Ella Dubrow, Michael Feldman, Dr. Michael Foreman, Elliot Franklin, Mary Freeman, Randy Goldheimer, Alan Granis, Nancy Granis, Anna Greenfield, Adrian Greenwald.
Benedict Zoe, Kara Greenwald, David Goldfein, Dr. Richard Harlan, Stephen Heller, Margie Hodis, Robert Jackson, Liam Jacobs, Brian Jeffries, Linda Kahn, Rami Cantor, Antoinette Karpinski, Desi Kate, Amy Kinslinger, Patricia Kipstuhl, Sheldon Claffin, Ellen Kleinerman, Marla Lakin, Lucas Leon, Helen Levine, Robert Levine.
David Loney, Kennedy Linston, Suzanne Luria, Jim McAvina, Irene Malkovich, John Masha, Trina Miller, R. Rabbi, Robert A. Nosenchuk, Carol Plank, Gail Ray, Rich Resnick, Lauren Retting, Alla Rogue, Charles Chuck Ross, David Schlein, Stephen Schlein, Shelley Schloss, Linda Schneiderman, Dana Weiss-Schultz, Alan Schwartz.
Steve Shackno, Gail Shapiro, Linda Segan, Ronnie Simkoff, Estelle Slutsky, Barbara Steinfurst, Angel Whistner, Robert Williams, Richard Wilson, Manuel Wolf, Ilzabel Wolf, Norman Zach, Eliza Bat Yitzchak Chaim HaKohen Vazelda Jenny, Aaron Yaakov Ben Pesach, Chaim Ben Hana, Hana Bat Meir Vechava, Ilana Ora Bat Avraham Vesara, Muriel Bat Yekutiel Varachel, Mordechai Ben Henya, Noam Raphael Ben Tali, Tinok Ben Shira Yisraela, Yeta Sarah Bat Gittel Hana.
A lot of names. We read Tinok Ben Shira Yisrael. I'm happy to say that Tinok is finally out of the hospital and has been given a name Yochanan.
Oh, wow.
I'm still waiting on the full Hebrew name so we can
that's great.
replace the Tinok, but I think that was just before they could actually have a bris and a naming and all of that because
Tinok means baby.
yes, Tinok means baby. Sorry,
Yeah, no.
that's good to mention. So many names, and we know that there are many more. For those of you who are joining us by live stream tonight, and you're thinking about individuals in your lives who you'd like to name, you can certainly, if you're on Facebook, you can put them in the comments, and I think you can even put them in the stream comments. So just know that we're feeling your spirit right now, and all those who are you're thinking of at this moment. We want to take this time too, as I move my hand across the congregation, if there's a name you'd like to share in this community, you could do that out loud, you could do that in your hearts. We just want to be inclusive of that. And if you yourself are in need of healing, include yourself in that too. That's okay.
Yes, I'd like to say something. There's a lady here in town, her name is Shelley Nair, and she's in the last stages of multiple sclerosis. And this woman has a heart of a lion. Just incredible. The strength is unbelievable. So if anybody has a prayer tonight, her name is Shelley Nair, and her husband is Mark, and he's an angel also.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
sharing that. We'll keep her in our prayers. It's a lot of people. A lot of us are in need of healing. I want to take this moment and acknowledge those who are in need of healing, whose maladies may not be seen to the human eye, but are hurting inside for many different reasons. So for those who suffer from addiction or anxiety, depression, we want to hold you close too, and we want those individuals close too. And we hold them all in this prayer of Misha Berach, this prayer of healing that we ask God to hold them close.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
I don't see any milestones on my list. Oh, that's true. We have Benot Mitzvah tomorrow, two twin sisters who are becoming Bat Mitzvah tomorrow morning. So we're really looking forward to that, Zoe and Lila Yerman. And yeah, we're really looking forward to that service tomorrow. If there's anybody else who is celebrating a milestone, special moment, feel free. Shout it out. All right. If you think of it later, you can give me a little like, oh, Rabbi, I changed my mind. I want to share the fact that, I don't know, had a great dinner last night. I don't know if it's a milestone, but.
Well, how do you tell people that you're going to Columbus tomorrow for a baptism when you have grandchildren?
All right. Well, it's a celebration, but I get the challenge, especially we're in a synagogue. But I got you. But it's still joyful for your family. So okay. All right. Shabbat shalom. Passover will soon be upon us, and along with the festival brings the beauty of the Seder, the symbolic foods and the gathering of family and friends. And this year, however, the refrains of "Let my people go" and "Dayenu" will ring differently this year. And as will the familiar words that punctuate the conclusion of the Seder next year in Jerusalem, L'Shana Haba'ah, B'Yerushalayim, we still pray that Jerusalem will be there, Jerusalem will be peaceful, that maybe at this time next year we'll be able to have a different kind of conversation. Yeah, I've been talking to a number of people in our community who recognize that Passover will be much different this year. They have shared that they cannot just go about business as usual. As a result, how might we attend to our Seder duties while recognizing the state of the world and the state of life in Israel and its environs? How do we go about that business of conducting a Passover Seder? Can we truly pretend that it's a normal year? No. Thank you. I was hoping somebody would answer. In one of the Seder's most memorable moments, we open our doors for Elijah the prophet. Elijah is a mythic figure in Jewish tradition. We set aside a special chair for Elijah at a bris. Yes, you didn't know your name would be invoked tonight, Elijah. And at the conclusion of Shabbat, we sing Eliyahu Hanavi. I tried this out last night with a little social action group I met with, so I'm hoping you can help me once again with singing that special melody that we sing when we open up the door. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi. And we trust that the great prophet will return to us as we sing that song. We open up the door. Hopefully it's not too cold outside. And of course, that we're that the little sip taken from the Elijah's cup, which of course Elijah takes that sip. And if you believe that or not, as tradition has it, the appearance of Elijah, in fact, is a messianic sign that we will all be redeemed. It's really happening, Elijah. We got an Elijah right here in the front, so pretty cool. There's something so comforting and familiar about, by the way, even singing that, right? Doesn't that just feel like a big old comfortable pair of jeans to just sing that again? There's something so comforting and familiar about beckoning Elijah each year at our Passover Seders. This is why it is surprising for many who learn of a difficult passage in more traditional Haggadot, just as Haggadah plural, that is read just after we open the doors for Elijah. In the traditional Passover readings, the Haggadah features a passage that is commonly known simply as Shvoch. I know, it's hard to say, shfoch. This section, featured at the same time that we open the door for Elijah, includes a number of biblical passages tied together by the rabbis. Here is the reading in its entirety. For those of you who might not be familiar with it, it could maybe be a little hard on the ears, but here we go. Shfoch hamatcha, pour out your wrath, God, upon those who do not know you, and upon the governments which do not call upon your name. For they have devoured Jacob, meaning Israel, and laid waste his dwelling place. Pour out your fury, O God, upon them. Let the fierceness of your anger overtake them. Pursue them in indignation and destroy them from under your heavens. It's always nice when you invite non-Jews to your Seder and read that one. To many of you, this passage may be unfamiliar, maybe a little jarring. We're among friends. This is a safe space. We can talk about this stuff. And that is because it has been omitted from many modern Haggadot. You might think, I'm looking through my Haggadah, and I do not find that passage. My Maxwell house might not say that, although it may. And a legitimate question for today might be, why include such a strong and assertive passage at our joyful Seders? Why proclaim to God, pour out your wrath on anyone? Maybe that's just like old-time religion, and we leave it with the old-time religion. Our sages believe that speaking the words of shafach is incredibly cathartic. At the time it was written, in the period of blood libels, when Jews were accused of using the blood of children, of Christian children, to prepare matzah, shfoch probably felt quite fitting. To the Jews of the 13th century, shfoch acknowledged the pain and the loss of the Jewish experience. Think about what the Jews endured and were oppressed with during that time. Importantly, in lieu of practicing violence against our enemies, this passage directs us to use our words to pour out our feelings of resentment and anger safely in the presence of loving family and friends. The comfort of the home provides an understanding place to voice our vulnerabilities and resentments, and even the human desire for vengeance. With the door open, we can unload the hurts and perhaps even embrace them without lifting up a weapon or even raising a fist. It's interesting psychology behind it, right? Not to take up arms, but to voice this violence, just in words. This Passover, I highlighted this text filled with anger, resentment, and the penchant for revenge to be a touchstone as we have reached almost 6 months since the events of October 7th. In all transparency, when I learned of the brutality perpetrated by Hamas terrorists, there were emotions boiling up inside of me I had not known before. The moment provided a terrible test for some 15 million Jews around the globe, and more pointedly for the government and military of the State of Israel. The moment challenged our resolve, certainly the resolve of the Israelis, and our resilience ourselves. It has also presented another test. How might we respond to an enemy that does not desire peace nor reconciliation? How might we respond to an enemy that has outwardly admitted that they want us gone from the river to the sea? Ishfoch hamatcha, pour out your wrath, O God, merited in that moment. How might we respond to an enemy that purposefully embed themselves inside hospitals, schools, and places where innocents live, so when we try to eliminate them, the result far too often results in sacrificing the vulnerable and the young? How do we respond to an enemy that has held Israelis captive in horrid conditions for what will soon be 200 days? How do we respond to the rage, the anger, and the fear we feel? Is it merited to say, Shfoch hamatcha, God, pour out your wrath upon these people? It is in our human DNA to feel the rage and the thrust of vengeance. For some of us more than others, sometimes it just depends how you're wired. But it isn't ultimately who we are as Jews. Rage can never be the end of the story, right? We can say shvoch hamatcha, but is that the end? Doesn't there need to be a postscript to that statement of violence, of anger? It just doesn't feel a fitting way to close a Seder with those words. We are a people steeped in joy and important and deep values, in the centrality of life and love and respect for every creation of God. This is who we are. We are a people who hold fast and true to standards of loving kindness. Well, it's been the name of our institution for about 174 years, Anshe Chesed, people of loving kindness. After all, that has been the hallmark and will continue to be so when we become congregation Mishkan Or, a tabernacle of light, projecting peace, love, joy to the world. It is this very notion that has planted itself within me, alongside the rage, since the start of the war. Think about these two competing emotions: rage, vengeance, peace, joy. How do they fit together? Can they? With this background, I was captured by a colleague's eulogy for a dear family member just this week. In eulogizing his stepfather, none other than Senator Joe Lieberman, Rabbi Ethan Tucker asserted that Senator Lieberman, who he thought of as a dad, was a man of deep integrity and values. If Joe Lieberman felt the pain, rage, and vengeance featured in the Shvoch prayer, that passage in the Haggadah, you would never know it. Here is a part of Rabbi Tucker's eulogy that highlights a story about the ethical standards raised by the ancient sage, Rabban Gamliel. He says, the Talmud records a crisis from 2,000 years ago when Rabban Gamliel, the political head of the Jewish community, was deposed as the leader of the main rabbinic academy. You know, I have to say in the Talmud, there was a lot of political stuff going on. So you might say, why was he deposed? This was very familiar territory for the rabbis. They often tried to cut down each other. Not always the healthiest, but this is what happened. So they wanted to depose this Rabban Gamliel. His sin? It seems his standards were too high. Rabban Gamliel demanded that all who entered the house of study meet the standard of tocho kvaro, that their insides should be like their outsides. Like in the ark and the tabernacle, a scholar was meant to be a person of gilded character, inside and out, a paragon of integrity and principle. This was a standard most people cannot meet. And therefore, his Beit Midrash, Rabban Gamliel's house of study, was very small. And people were dying to get in, but they just didn't measure up. And that's why he was deposed and essentially put on trial. Your standards are too high. Rabbi Tucker compares his revered stepfather, who found himself so close to becoming America's first Jewish vice president. I was struck at the accounting of Rabban Gamliel's flawless standards of ethical behavior. As Jews, we must be tocho v'kvaro, individuals of integrity inside and out. Not easy to do. We must strive every day to be principled people who seek to move the world to a place of tikkun, a place of healing. We must strive to not cause more hate than is necessary and scrutinize decision-making with all of our resources. And when we are in a position of power and in a position of strength, we must at all costs hold ourselves to standards even when our enemies fall short of them. How does that vision fold into the message of Shvoch? Shvoch hamatcha, pour out your wrath, God. Rabban Gamliel and Shvoch. Shvoch, pouring out your wrath, a human need to exact revenge and harm on the people who have harmed us. How might we fulfill the image Rabbi Tucker suggests to us, the one that Rabban Gamliel exemplified when Israelis today are facing an existential crisis? How do we temper our craving for vengeance with our yearning for peace? This past week, the Israel Defense Forces mistakenly launched missiles that killed 7 aid workers affiliated with the World Central Kitchen. The World Central Kitchen trucks had just delivered much-needed provisions to the malnourished in Gaza. And while IDF top brass admitted to the error, it was not the first time that aid workers and journalists have been wrongly killed as a result of the war. Friends, I have never fought in a war. I don't have knowledge of the intricacies of battle. War is hell, and collateral damage is always a terrible result of these entrenched battles. But as the weeks wear on, I continue to be overcome with the unfathomable number of Gaza's dead. I fear that the nation of Israel, led by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, a self-possessed authoritarian who will do just about anything to stay in office, is not being led by the principles that we hold so dear, far from the integrity attributed to Senator Joe Lieberman or Rabban Gamliel, who lived 2,000 years prior. My deeply held Zionist beliefs remain firmly intact, but my trust in governmental leadership has really waned. To put it bluntly, I fear that Netanyahu is leveraging the pain, anger, and vengeance that every Israeli is feeling as a weapon to build a bigger fundamentalist coalition that has no interest in the lives of the Palestinians, no interest in seeking any kind of reasonable peace towards a two-state solution, and really not interested in the lives of people who don't vote for him. Internally, I fear that Israel's prime minister does not have the interests of his nation in mind, the accountability for security shortfalls, the humility to absorb what his people are experiencing every day, or the vision for an end game. We know this because after October 7th, he never truly accepted responsibility that this calamity happened on his watch, and instead blamed the military infrastructure, the very people who put their hides on the line to protect their country every single day. In fact, it is the soldiers and the citizens of Israel that have held the country together, despite him. And I fear that Netanyahu's ego will result in it being torn apart. Israelis deserve better. They deserve better. Just like in our country, if somebody is elected whose power gets completely out of whack and who has no concern for people who don't vote for him in this country, that is a problem. As for what will transpire at our own Seder tables, I will not give public voice to the words of Shvoch in my Seder, as I have done in previous years. I must say, I've always kind of liked that part. I felt like it was a psychological release valve. It was a wonderful way of showing our anger over the last 2,000 years of oppression in such a healthy way. I won't do it this year. The words are too harsh for my young nephews who will be attending. Too harsh for my daughter who's bringing her non-Jewish girlfriend. But I will be using the moment when we open up the door for Elijah to engage in a primal scream of anger, hurt, and may very well include tears. I need it, and I imagine many of you do too. And I mean a real scream. Hopefully my neighbors don't get upset. That scream will take on the texture of the many emotions and feels that have been running through me. It will include my incredulity at the brutality practiced by Hamas. It'll comprise the hurts I feel for a nation that will never be the same. It will evoke the cries of the children and the victims of rape, the malnourished, the weak and infirm in Gaza, and the incomprehensible fallout whenever the day after arrives. But my scream will also anticipate a new day. I promise. I will insist on it. And the possibility of new leadership, as naive as it may sound. And this leadership will recognize the deferred dream of a better day when Israelis and Palestinians mutually recognize that both peoples belong on the same patch of land. Both have a right to be there. My scream will be hopeful, recognizing that hardening our hearts and hardening the hearts of the other will only cause more pain. I will scream with hope that every Israeli and every diaspora Jew will strive to live up to the values of our tradition, maybe not as high as Senator Joe Lieberman or Rabban Gamliel, but we should strive for that, because saving a life is as if one has saved the entire world. Amen. Continue with Aleinu L'Shabeach, page 282. Please rise as we open up the ark.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שם בנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. Continue on page 288. 288. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved, and if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands, by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. We take this time now when we remember those in our greater community who have died in the last 30 days in the period of Shiva, the period of Shloshim. We remember our longtime member, dear Arthur Kaplansky, Robert Mock, Gordon Safran, another long-time dear member who is so special to so many of us here. And we remember those who died at this season in years past, in the period of Yahrzeit. We remember Merle Benjamin, Fanny Baum, Phyllis Benet, Rachel Burles, Estelle Ahrens-Blattner, Lester Blauschild, Abe Bonder, Minnie Berger, Irving Chelm, Sophia Cowan, Jean Kahn Diamond, Dottie Edelman, Joseph Einhorn, Arthur Elsoffer, Fanny B. Fishman, Bernard Freilich, Sophie Freilich, Sharon R. Freemuth, Rhea June Freed, Robert Friedman, Jules Gorel, Irene Dietz Garfinkel, Dora Geller, Val Goldsmith, Harry Goldstein.
Stephanie Greenfeld, Karen Groden, Jason Halley, Thomas L. Jacobs, Selma G. Kane, Dr. Emil M. Caney, Amy Beth Katz, Louis H. Klassman, Melvin L. Klein, Joseph Harvey Corman, Esther Kramer, Ida Kreinberg, Alvin Krenitz, Clara M. Krentzman, Samuel A. Landy, Adele Lazarus, Edward Joseph Lelyveld, Rose Levin, Harold A. Lipton, Willard P. Livingston, Robert J. Lusher, Mina Mahol, Arthur A. Miller.
Rebecca Miller, Bill Nidus, Harry C. Nidus, Philip Newman, May Pavel, Antoinette Phillip, Claire E. Phillip, Dr. Walter B. Phillips, Mildred Bonnard Reitman, Dorothy Loveman Rose, Lillian Roth, Mark Howard Roth, Francis Schreiber, Joseph E. Schwartzman, Louis Say, Charles H. Sherman, J. William Charlatan, Oladar Solomon, Herman Tobin, Rose Gruber Viner, Sandra Lisa Wexler, Adolf Weinberg, Leo Weil, Frida Winston. To this list, we add the names of the 6 million who perished in the Shoah, those who died in the Holocaust, and we say Kaddish for all those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. If you are mourning tonight, you're mourning a loved one who died in the last 30 days, Shiva Shloshim, or in the year Shana, or in the yard site, we invite you to rise at your seats so we can know you in your grief. And we invite you to join with our mourners as we continue. We stand together for the Mourner's Kaddish, Kaddish Yatom, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach yirtei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon. Uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'galau v'zman kari v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam alomeo maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha.
Brichu.
Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran be'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn, comfort to all who are bereaved among us. And we say together,
Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. All right. Thank you for leading services with me tonight.
Thank you for leading services
I
with me.
appreciate as Rob Nosenchuk or Josh Caruso, I'm happy to, whoever I was tonight,
We have a big milestone that we did miss.
We
that
did.
I'm remiss
Okay.
if I did not say it. And
Oh.
it was your big milestone birthday,
Oh,
Rabbi.
thank you,
which
thank you.
happened,
Yes,
which happened this past week, and I think we need a big Shehechianu
Oh,
to
thank
honor
you.
your milestone.
55.
So
All
let's
right.
join
Okay.
Mazel Tov. Let us join together in a big Shehechianu for Rabbi Caruso. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen. May you go from strength to strength, Rabbi.
Thank you, thank you. I'll take
Amen.
that prayer. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. I feel very blessed to be here, and so thank you for that. I appreciate that. We are turning to the close of our service. There are some upcoming events here in your handout, which you could certainly take with you. We have, of course, we have tomorrow morning, as we always do, Parshat HaShavua study, only on Zoom. That's led by our fantastic Rabbi Eli Mulbaum. So you can come learn the Parshat HaShavua, the Parshat Shemini this week with Rabbi Mulbaum. We are also, there's a couple of really important announcements, and they involve music. And for the first time in, I think, decades, we are invigorating the Bloch service. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, sure, yes. On May 2nd and May 5th, I, along with Kent State University Orchestra and choirs, will be presenting this monumental piece of music. It's actually an entire morning service. in one of the great pieces of classical music that was written actually based on Jewish liturgy. It'll be, the first performance will be May 2nd at the Maltz Performing Arts Center at 7:30 or 8 p.m., I'm not sure exactly, whatever it says in your program. And the second performance will be at Kent State on Sunday, May 5th. It's all in your program. You can, more and more information will be coming out in the upcoming days. Really
It's going
excited.
to be tremendous.
It was a very historic piece here to this community. It was premiered in Fairmount Temple in 1959. It was first premiered in Cleveland in the 1930s by Arthur Rodzinski, one of the conductors of the Cleveland Orchestra. And the composer was Ernest Bloch, who was the first director of the Cleveland Institute of Music. So lots of connections to Cleveland, very exciting historic moment.
Fantastic. Thank you for bringing that to us, Cantor. I also want to take the opportunity to say on Wednesday mornings, we are doing some learning also on Zoom. And in anticipation of Passover, the next 3 weeks will be our Passover series. We're looking at the fours of Passover. There's so many fours that come with 4 cups of wine and the 4 children, 4 questions, right? All of that. So we're going over that, which is really fun. And then this is a preview. We haven't yet sort of shared this in our e-blast, but May and June, those 2 months on Wednesday morning study at 9:15 a.m. will be devoted to a retrospective on the history of Anshe Chesed Fairmount Temple. So we'll be going back to 1839 and the immigrants who came over from Unsleben, Bavaria. And then there was like this split in 1850 with this temple called the Temple Tifereth Israel. So this is what we're doing in July is really a reunification. So we're going to look at all the past clergy from those days. So it should be fun. Is there anything else we should mention? Is there Tat Shabbat? Is there Simchat Shabbat?
April 20th, there will be Simchat Shabbat for those with little kiddos, and it'll be Havdalah, actually beginning at 3 p.m. with a pizza party. So,
Sounds good.
April 20th.
And as much as we'd love you to go, if you don't have like a kind of a child or a grandchild, you know, yeah, you can rent one.
Rent a child.
I really want to get that pizza. Oh, and finally, there is we're going to have an eclipse party coming on this Monday from 2 to 4:30. So we do ask you to RSVP for that, to Tali Sanam. You could even call on Monday morning and just let us know, but there will be pizza, there will be goodies.
We've got glasses for the first 100
Yes,
people.
yes, free glasses for the first 100. Otherwise, bring your own, 2 to 4:30 on Monday. Beat the traffic.
Walk if you...
Yeah, walk if you need to. All right. Oh, and join us for Oneg Shabbat following the service in the Commons.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
L'chaim. I'll do the honors.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. And we conclude, as I was planning services today, I was missing a little bit of Yiddish. So we're concluding with a classic Yiddish song called Alle Brider. If you know it, sing it along. If you don't, you're going to know it within the first 10 seconds. It's in the handout. Join with us. Und wir seien alle Brüder, oi, oi, alle Brüder. Und wir singen freiliche Lieder, oi, oi, oi. Und wir halten sich in einem, oi, oi, sich in einem. Als ehrlich ist noch top bei keinem, oi, oi, oi. Oi, 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 Und wir seien alle Schwester, oi, oi, alle Schwester, so wie Rochel, Russ und Esther, oi, oi, oi. Und wir seien alle freilich, oi, oi, alle freilich, oi, Nessen, David Hamelech, oi, oi, oi. Oi, 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 oi,
Oh, that'll be fun. That's going to be an earworm. I'm going to be singing that all night.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.